substantial growth or substantial increase in the GDP. Hello friends, once again I welcome in the new lectures of the economics. I am Jitendra Desai. So today we will discuss the economic growth, economic development and human developments. So so let's find what is the differences between the economic growth, economic development and human developments. So these three concept looks very similar to each other to uh, some person who are not belongs to the economics or who do not have any experience in the economics, but as far as this subject is concerned, these three concepts have different types of the meaning, but these all three concepts are intermingle or dependent upon each other. So without growth the development cannot be existed, and without economic development human development cannot be existed. So these three concepts are interdependent on the each other. So let's see what is mean by the economic growth. So let's see the first of all, what is mean by the economic growth. Economic growth, suppose there is a from the last year to this year is called the economic growth. Means suppose last year Indian GDP might be around the 4.1 trillion in around 2024, and this year we have added some billions again into it. Now in 2025 Indian GDP is around 1.15 trillion dollar. Means we have added here the 500 billion dollar. $500 billion. So it is means we added. So it is can be said the growth means it is a quantitative method. Means economic growth is just about the quantification or the quantitative numbers of the growth. So just about the, and so many times actually so many times and so many government all over the world are misleading the people of their fellow citizens, especially because showing this number to say them how the country is growing, how the country is developed. So but this is not the case with the development, or this is not the development. So because actually we need to understand so what is mean by a reality of the development. So it means economic growth is all about the growth in the numbers or growth in the GDP to the last year. So with the reference to the last years, as we have seen how the Indian or how the any kind of the economy is grown from last year to this year. So if there is a growth, so we have seen there is a growth of the $500 billion. So it means there is a growth in the GDP. So there is a growth is shown. So it is called the economic growth. So what is mean by the economic development? So again, economic development means this, especially the growth must be reflected in the society. Overall the overall standard of living should be increased. A standard of living of the fellow citizen or citizen of the country must be improved, and this increase in the billions must be reflected into the overall condition of the people also. So that time we can say that actually there is a development. So let's how the development is seen. So for the developments, it is one of the key features is the, as we have seen in the some of the previous lectures. So for the development there is a income. It is very vital. Per capita income must be raised or must be increased. Otherwise we cannot say that actually there is a growth in the, or there is a development. So per capita income is one of the most essential component of the development. So definitely Indian GDP has been risen. If here, then GDP must be reflected into the incomes of the common people. So common people definitely would have the benefit from the GDP, overall GDP of the India or GDP of the any country. So per capita income must be raised if there is growth. If there is growth in the economy, so GDP per capita income of the common people, especially I'm saying not about the rich people, because as we know that as a capitalist economy, as a mixed economy, sometimes or most of the times the economic disparity is more, where the rich people or richers or richer are getting highest benefit from the benefit uh, growth, especially if you see. And last 10 years of Indian economy has been last 10 years, but last 20 to 25 years, Indian government or Indian economy has been one of the key uh, key problem with this. So most of the times, so per capita income is one of the key here. Second one, the social development. Overall we are discussing here the social development as also must be there. So social development, per capita income and social development, actually we will talk about in details about the social development in the human development. So social development must be reflected, actually must be reflected mean in case of the education standard, as per as education of the countries education is concerned. Definitely educational condition of the countries must be improved as far as their educational years. As we know that one of the lacking, actually India has been struggling to have the 100% literacy from the independence. We started our journey from the 30%, and now we have reached up to the 80% literacy rate. So actually this number must be reflected into the increase in the literacy rate of our country. And second one is one of the health condition. So how the health condition can be assessed? So by the assessing the life expectancy rate. As we are aware, we might have we actually as a students, you might have aware the Indian life expectancy rate is around the 67-year-old, where the China and Japan and most of the European countries are touching, especially touching the year of the 87, 88 year of the life expectancy. So if there is a growth, definitely this growth must be reflected into the economic development. So it is all about the development. So you might have understood. So we started with the economic growth. Economic growth is just a quantitative concept, while economic development is a qualitative concept. It is a qualitative concept, means this is the major difference of these two concepts. So economic growth is about the quantitative or quantification of the numbers, especially if there is a rise. Growth, as we know that growth is a word. What is meant by growth? It means increase in the substantial growth into the numbers or GDP numbers, especially GDP. As we have shown, the Indian GDP is GDP now, according to some of the data, is around the 4.1 trillion, and now this year might have touched $4.2 trillion, and in upcoming years we will surpass Japan, as the government has saying that, and some of the leading world banks and IMF also is showing that these numbers. So growth, quantitative concept, and economic development is of the qualitative concepts, means growth must be reflected into the quality or standard of living of the people. And standard of living is all about the education, all about the health condition so of the country, as well as per capita income of the country. So now we will turn to the next concept. So we are discussing here the economic growth, economic development, and human development. So before going into details of the economic development or the human development especially, so we need to assess or aware with the another concept, inclusive growth. Inclusive growth is also one of the, so in the some of the our 5-year plan, government of India has set the target to have the inclusive growth. Definitely there is growth, as we have mentioned a little bit earlier, that the most of the times in the capitalist economy, most of the times, especially in the capitalist economy, richer get the most of the benefits of the growth. So and that time actually government shows that actually number how the country is grown, how the country has the growing economy, status of the growing economy. So that is not the case with the reality. So what is meant by the here the inclusive growth? Inclusiveness means the growth or the whatever the development we have achieved as a country must be reflected in the all section of the society. Here is the we are discussing the all section. Means what is meant by all section here? All section of society must be benefited from the growth or whatever the development we achieve. So all section, again, what are the all sections? We are not talking about the sections means on the basis of religion here. Means section can be categorized on the basis of their standard of living, a standard of the development. Means poor and rich is one of the grossly categorization we can see here. The poor, rich and poors on the basis of gender, male and female, how the male and female how benefited from the growth. Then on the basis of the children, age, children, adult and young, how these sections of the society got the benefit or are benefited from the uh, growth. So all sections, and on the basis of religions also, on the basis of India has so many uh, diverse. I'm not saying it is a diversity about the caste. Actually, caste is different. Caste are existed in India. Very different religion are existing. So we are not dealing with this factor, but just as a human, plainly this can be very viable categorization of the people or human. So poor or rich can be on the basis of economy, and male female on the basis of their gender, and children and adult young. So these can be the very good criteria to assess the development or inclusiveness of the growth. So many times in economics, actually I have seen people especially talk about the development of the Muslims, development of the Hindus, and development of the different caste. So definitely must be there. Every section of the society, every religion of the country, every person of the country must be benefited from the growth. But these are the real criteria to have to judge the inclusiveness of the growth or this section. How the rich got the benefit of the growth, how the poor gets benefit, or how the poor gets their share in the economy, how male and female got benefit. So if you see the story of our country in the last 80 years, we got the freedom in 1947. From we started as a very poor country, one of the poorest country, and now we are one of the topmost or one of the 5 top economies of the world. So how the progress we have done, and which section of the society got the most benefit? If you see in the last 80 years of the economy, last year 80 year of the our development or history, most of the benefit is especially got is one of the highest economic disparity existed in Indian society. Means more than 70% for 70% of our wealth is holded by the just 10% of the population, and it shows the number. And this is not our number. Actually, government has released such a data. So it is a very huge disparity. And is there who is responsible for this reason or this state of the condition? So many factors and so many things is responsible for this. So could we say that is it a good inclusive growth? So definitely we can say that it is not an inclusive growth, because in last 50 years we the haven't have the less border or less difference between the poor and rich. And nowadays, if you see the day by day, the difference between the poor and rich is growing and growing day by day. So next one is a female, and how female and male especially got the benefit of our development. So male, which is has the highest literacy rate than woman, highest life expectancy or the life expectancy as well as employment, uh, especially compared to the female. Female especially contribute less Actually, why they contribute less? Actually, they are not given chances, they are denied their chances, they are denied their opportunities, and so this is why this section of the society hasn't have any shares in the growth. So it is not the inclusive growth we are discussing, we are talking about, and government we are discussing, our government is uh, trying trying to have the good work on it. So then children, adult and young. So again, all these three sections, how the benefits had how got the benefit. So it is all about the inclusive growth, means all the section of the society must be benefited from the growth. So it is called the inclusive growth. Inclusive growth means you might have understood very well. So we will have the next kind of the term, the human development. So let's see the next concept in this topic is human development. Human development. So again, human development can be assessed by the two factors, actually economic factors and social factors. So as a human, uh, some of the human factors, sorry, economic factors are needed for the development, as well as some of the social factors we can use to assess the overall condition of the development of the human. So let's see which are the let's see actually which are the factors or indicators, which are the indicators of the indicators of development. So social factors and economic factors. So let's see how this categorization has been done. If you see, uh, first of all, in the social factor, education again is one of the key. Education, health, education, health. कट कर. Actually काय माहिती का, ही डेव्हलप